legendary coaches, 2 rival conferences, and a lot of sensational sophomores. Tonight's action live on game day here at Old Lyme High School. Welcome to the MJ Sullivan pregame show. I'm Casey O'Neill along with Mike Guerrera. And Mike, we are going to see a lot of young, exciting players tonight playing for 2 coaches who have been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, the story doesn't ever end with the coaches, but it does start a little bit with the coaches tonight. Don Bugby for Old Lyme has been here a long time. He's got state titles to his name. And Coach Mike Nystrom on the St. Bernard side has also been here a while. He's got years under his belt. So they'll have their teams ready. Old Lyme comes in 11-3. St. Bernard is 7-9, but it's a deceptive 7-9, and we'll talk about that throughout the pregame here.
We're looking forward to a competitive game, but before we do anything else, let's send it down to the 3rd member of our team, the sports doctor, Keith O'Brien. Keith?
Fellas, the girls take center stage tonight on game day. And it may be cold and snowy outside, but things are about to heat up in this gym. And you guys have talked about 2 very young teams loaded with sophomores and juniors. How about Abby Stone, a standout senior, a sophomore for Old Lyme High School. Best friends with Caitlin Dittman on the other side for St. Bernard's. Very good friends off the court, rivals here on the court. Fellas, good game tonight. Keep an eye on these sensational sophomores.
Well, thank you very much, Keith. And he mentioned Abby Stone, and that's interesting. That's a good segue for us because she is one of the players that we're going to be watching tonight.
Yeah, she's certainly up and coming, but she's going to be center stage tonight on the Old Lyme side. The sophomore guard, she scores inside and out for the Wildcats, averaging 19 points. Get this number, 7 steals over the last 5 games. That's incredible. Again, one of the top sophomores, not only in this game, but in the state of Connecticut. You're going to see a lot of her, and you're going to hear her talk, her name mentioned a lot by both of us here tonight as you see her scoring at will from both sides of the court. On the St. Bernard's side, it's another sophomore forward, Caitlin Dittman, one of the top posts in the ECC. She's a forward, but you're going to see her controlling the ball a lot. She's going to bring up the ball. St. Bernard's a little weak on the guard play, so she is really going to take center stage, again, inside and out. And along with Abby Stone, Dittman, one of the top sophomores in the state. So a bunch of super softs on the floor tonight.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of those sophomores tonight, Stone and, of course, Dittman. But some of the seniors are very important here tonight as well. We got seniors on both sides of it, including Old Lyme senior Katie Quartatella. She's a 3-sport captain who was forced to sit out most of the soccer season after suffering a concussion in the first scrimmage of the fall.
She was so excited for her senior year in all 3 sports. Had the capability of doing very well in all sports. I think she had an inkling that she was going to be a captain in at least a couple, and I made her captain as well. She was so excited, and then she got a concussion problem in her soccer season, and it was complete disappointment for her.
It was difficult because I need to stay active. Like sports just keeps me going, and I always need like a schedule, like sports, homework, and then like sleep. So I don't know, it was very difficult. It was my last year and I just wanted to go out with a bang, but I didn't really get the chance to. So it's nice having basketball to just make up for that, I think.
So she finally got cleared with all that stuff and come back, and she's been having a very good basketball season for us, her best yet in 4 years. She's leading our team in minutes played, and she does a lot of the stuff that doesn't appear in the stat book, but she's really helping us a lot. And she will help the lacrosse team.
She's a unique kid, obviously, with 3 sports and being the captain, like you said, but she's such a great kid, not just as a player, but off the court, all the stuff she does academically, high honors kid, glue. She's, one of those kids that she may not be the superstar on each team, but she's that glue kid. And especially this year, she's had a great year in basketball, and moving forward to lacrosse, we're expecting huge things from her.
Welcome back now here to the MJ Sullivan pregame show on theday.com. Of course, you're watching Game Day. You see the student section starting to fill up here at Old Lyme High School as the Old Lyme Wildcats, 11-3 on the year, play host to the St. Bernard Saints, 7-9, but a deceiving 7-9 as they have lost to mostly L and double L teams. We are going to talk a little bit about those St. Bernard Saints and who they have lost to when we come back, but we want you to come back after this message. You're watching Game Day, live on theday.com.
MJ Sullivan Hyundai in the top 15 in the country. We've just been notified that we have won the Hyundai President's Award. We rank in the top 15 dealers nationwide for customer satisfaction, and we're the only dealer in Connecticut to win this award. Consider this, a good deal is not price alone, but it's the service you receive during and after the sale, and that's been the driving force of MJ Sullivan's for nearly 30 years. So come to the MJ Sullivan Automotive Corner in New London or at mjsullivanauto.com, and I personally guarantee you'll be satisfied.
We all had one vision, and that was to bring the best cancer care to this area. The number one thing that we wanted was privacy.
We wanted more lighting, enough room for our guests and our caregivers, a common area if you want to socialize.
I still get emotional every time I walk into an infusion room. It's so bright and it's so cheerful.
It's just amazing to know that I had part in designing the building.
Welcome back to game day here on theday.com at Old Lyme High School. Now, Mike, we talked a little bit about the sophomores, Abby Stone and Caitlin Dittman, and we just heard about senior Katie Corratella of Old Lyme. St. Bernard's has a senior who's pretty special as well.
They do. Her name is Caitlin Burkle. She's the daughter of former Waterford boys basketball coach Don Burkle. She's taken on a leadership role this year for the Saints after the graduation of 4 seniors last year and a lot of young talent on this team, and she'll be looked to a lot tonight.
Growing up with a coach in the house is kind of different. Having my dad having a basketball hoop in my yard, I had one right back there. I used to just go out there, dribble. Him also being a coach, go to every single practice, just shoot around. And after a period of time, he was probably the biggest role model and supporter. But after a time, I learned to love the game. I loved it. I love to play it, practices, everything. Just having him is a pretty good added bonus.
Caitlin Burkle came in as a freshman, and right away she started to see some varsity minutes. She was an incredible player as a freshman because she knew her role. She did all the things that you need to do. She played great defense, she rebounded. Then as she developed sophomore and junior year, she realized her role on the team was going to continue to increase. And it just continued to get better and better, but she never stopped doing those things that made her such a great player.
She's had a great attitude. She's been a great leader this year. She's been positive 98% of the time. She's played well. I mean, she has to do a lot, you know. She has to do more than, you know, is really fair. Coaching her this year has been probably the most fun for me, just to see her grow as a person, not so much as a player, but just as to see the leader she's become.
She's really brought this team together and really done some incredible things for herself as well as for the team. And her focus is always on the team, which is the most important.
Welcome back to the MJ Sullivan pregame show tonight on Game Day, live on theday.com. And Mike, she's going to have a lot of responsibilities, is Caitlin Burkle, because she has to bring up the ball a lot on what is a very young backcourt for St. Bernard. Now, St. Bernard may have 9 losses, but they have lost to Bacon Academy, an L school, New London, an L school defending state champion, NFA, Double L, Ledyard L, and Canton, the #1 team in Class S. Now, Old Lyme at 11-3 is very good in Class S, but St. Bernard's has done very well with similar-sized schools. We'll find out how it plays out. Come on back for the tip-off on Game Day on theday.com.
At Ledyard High School, we are athletes and fans. We are musicians. We are home to an agri-science and technology center. We offer opportunities to earn college credit. We have 3 student publications and nearly 4 dozen extracurricular clubs. We're inclusive. We're compassionate. We're committed to excellence. We are 12 towns, 4 grades, 1 identity.
The following is a presentation of The Day.
Their combined coaching tenures add to nearly 60 years. Don Bugby, a name synonymous with Old Lyme. Mike Nystrom, 32 years at St. Bernard. Countless bus rides, scouting trips, and victories. It's a new season, but their teams are in contention once again. It's come to be expected from their programs. It's St. Bernard. It's Old Lyme. It's Game Day. Next. Nice crowd filtering in here at Old Lyme High School. You're watching Game Day on theday.com as Old Lyme hosts St. Bernard's. Casey O'Neill along with Mike Guerrera. Mike, let's take a look at the keys to tonight's basketball game. First, for St. Bernard, they're going to have to help Dittman and Burkle. They cannot do it all. They need a third scorer tonight. You know, use that familiarity. Burkle and Dittman have played AAU ball with Old Lyme's Abby Stone. Do they know how to guard her? And don't tire her out. You know, Mike Nystrom of St. Bernard rarely subs. Will his kids be fresh at the end of this game? For Old Lyme, they've really got to move the ball. The Wildcats have an efficient offense when the ball keeps moving. They got to keep sophomore Abby Stone on the floor. She's their leading scorer. She must stay out of foul trouble. And they need to defend inside. The Wildcats could have trouble with Dittman and Burkle, two big bodies down in that low post.
And we'll take a look now, Casey, at the starting lineups for the visiting St. Bernard Saints. Kara Bassett, the sophomore guard, Courtney Rose, the junior guard, and Caitlin Burkle, who we've talked about, the senior guard forward. Sophie Nelson down low, sophomore forward, and then Caitlin Dittman, the other sophomore forward. For the home Old Lyme Wildcats, it's sophomore guard Abby Stone, senior guard Katie Cortella, freshman guard Maddie Zrenda, Hannah Painter is a senior forward, and Julia Strajars is a senior forward as well for Old Lyme. Now coming up, we will have the playing of the national anthem as we pause.
All right, we are ready for tip-off. Your officials tonight, Rob Riccatelli and Dave Duguay, they will be calling the action for us tonight. Like I said, Casey O'Neill along with Mike Guerrera live on Game Day. Theday.com's continuing coverage and presentation of high school basketball. We've done a couple of the boys' games, including a very exciting New London at Ledyard game, which seemed like the last time it didn't snow. And now we have our first look at girls action, and of course we'll be bringing you the girls ECC finals at the end of February. But Mike, it's going to be nice just to get playing again after what seems to be our move to the Toronto area.
Yeah, it's been snowing a lot. This game was supposed to happen last week, and it got postponed, but we're glad that we could get back here and get on the air with you. And this is going to be a good one tonight. You know, it's a cross-conference game, but it should be interesting to see as you see some of the girls hugging out there. That's always nice to see, but it should be a good test. We're already in February. I mean, the conference finals are not too far away, so both teams really looking to make a run here towards the postseason.
We're going to have Burkle for St. Bernard and Strydchars for, Painter for Old Lyme doing the jump. And it's controlled by Strydchars of Old Lyme. And she immediately turns it over to Dittman underneath. And they're going to put some pressure on his Old Lyme. They know that St. Bernard struggles. Burkle will bring it up, and St. Bernard will run its first offense.
And there you go. You see Burkle right away. I mean, she's the point guard, she's the center, she's the forward. You're going to see her controlling the offense both inside and out tonight.
Bassett with the basketball for St. Bernard's. In the corner, it goes jumper. Burkle, no good. And a rebound by Abby Stone, the big sophomore guard. And she can bring it up. Over to Cortella. Into the lane. And tipped out of bounds there. It will stay Old Lyme basketball.
Very nice handles by Abby Stone. She's tall, but she's got some good handles bringing the ball up the court. Again, you see both her and Burkle. It's going to be impressive to watch that height kind of really controlling the ball with ease tonight.
Cortella inside to Strychars, blocked by Dittman, but they're going to call a jump ball as Dittman did tie her up, and possession arrow favors St. Bernard, and they will get the basketball.
Yeah, I think Old Lyme's going to learn quickly that they're going to want to do their work offensively on the outside, or at least a few steps out. Going inside is going to be a recipe for disaster with Dittman and Burkle controlling the paint.
You see Courtney Rose now with the ball. They're trying to get Burkle and Dittman on the blocks. Swinging it around, Rose with the basketball to Sophie Nelson. Really struggling are the Saints when it's not in one of these two girls' hands. Dittman with a little jumper in the lane is good. And there are first points with 6:48 remaining in the quarter, 2-0 St. Bernard.
Yeah, if she can get her arms up on the block, she's going to outreach anyone. So the ball is just getting the key is getting those nice entry passes, and that's what worked there, and she just kind of dumped it in.
Long three-pointer by Stone, no good. Long rebound on the floor, retained by Stone with the left hand, and she will look to drive the baseline. Baseline drive, she runs into Dittman. She wasn't going anywhere. Dittman running the break for St. Bernard. And now she'll set it all the way back out to Rose.
Good work with the left hand by Stone, but just kind of got trapped on the baseline and didn't have anywhere to go with it.
Dittman looks to set a nice pick and roll, and tipped out of bounds by Strychars. Nice pick and roll that time run by the two big bodies on St. Bernard's, the forwards Burkle and Dittman, but heads up play by Strychars, tipping it out of bounds.
Smooth footwork by the big girls down working the pick and roll, and I'm sure Old Lyme is a little bit prepared for that, knowing those are the two players they're going to have to key on, but still it almost worked to perfection.
Very active, Abby Stone tipping the ball out of bounds. St. Bernard's will retain. Up on top to Rose. To the elbow, jump shot, no good. Rebound controlled by Dittman, follow, no good. And Quaratella, the senior, comes out of it for Old Lyme, and Old Lyme will look to push. St. Bernard in man. Quaratella stops at the foul line. In the corner to Strychars. Trying to get the ball inside. And Quaratella got going there before she got the dribble down. Turnover, and ball will go over to St. Bernard.
Yeah, a couple anxious moments for her already tonight. At the top of the key, she almost kind of took an extra little slide, and then she took it there. So just got to think, a split second sooner before she picks up the dribble and makes a pass. Great effort by Stone. She's down. She gets up quickly.
Hard to the floor. You saw Stone very active, the sophomore, with a big body, and she's a little dazed right now. She hit the floor pretty hard, but St. Bernard really struggles guard play right now. All their guards are very young. We also had our first substitution of the game, Mary Kate Devlin for Old Lyme, the senior, replacing another senior, Hannah Painter. Lob inside to Burkle. She catches but can't quite control. Tipped out of bounds, Old Lyme basketball. And you can see they'll get their looks inside, and if they can get the ball in to one of either Burkle or Dittman, they get good looks, but they really struggle in the perimeter.
Yeah, and they're going to have to really make good entry passes, work the offense. You saw there, nice job by Old Lyme as St. Bernard steals it and slows it up. A nice job by Old Lyme on the help, the weak side defense. Recently entered Kate Devlin. She kind of came over when the ball made the entry, and then they were able to get a turnover.
Burkle gets the ball in the low block. No good. Crashing rebound by Strychars, but she lost it out of bounds. St. Bernard's will retain the basketball with 4:53 remaining here in the first period. Burkle will inbound. Finds Rose. Pump fake, and layup is good. Courtney Rose with her first basket. 4-0 St. Bernard.
Gotta love the pump fake. I mean, it's such an old-timey thing, but it works so well still, and you don't see it used as much, but that was a great job by Rose with the pump fake.
Well, the simplest fundamentals of basketball are the most beautiful to watch, and that's one of them right there. The pump fake is one of the moves you just don't see enough, and it's especially effective for smaller players like Rose, who needed to get the big in the air so that she could get off a clean shot.
Exactly. I think one of the fundamentals of basketball, the short shorts, was probably something that was good left in the annals of time.
Rose on the break, missed the layup after the long touchdown pass from Burkle. Now, Burkle's father, Don Burkle, among other athletic achievements, was a heck of a pitcher, and right there his daughter showed off quite an arm as she threw the touchdown pass, but Rose could not finish. Abby Stone, long three-pointer, no good. And long rebound will go out of bounds, turning it over to St. Bernard. You can see Stone has all kinds of raw talent as a sophomore and a lot of length. And right now, it's just a question of getting her some more minutes. Inbound stolen, but now Kara Bassett retains for St. Bernard. Over to Dittman, back to Rose, and they will reset with Burkle.
Yeah, and Burkle's really, whenever there's trouble, everyone just picks their head up and looks for 24.
And you got to give Old Lyme's Maddie Zarenda a lot of credit. She is woefully undersized against Dittman, but she is battling underneath in a very physical battle. You got to give her a lot of credit there.
Yeah, we haven't heard too much from Dittman. She scored early, but other than that, she's been fairly quiet. A couple opportunities that she's missed. And a foul there, that foul was on Stone. Keep an eye.
Yep, Silja Forstein checks into the game, replacing Quaratella. Our first look at another of the guards, this time a junior from Old Lyme. And another turnover by St. Bernard. Both teams very much struggling to get in any sort of rhythm. Old Lyme contesting everything they can down low, and St. Bernard's size causing a problem for the Wildcats.
And a good turnout tonight, as you see in your camera, a good turnout by the student section. The Old Lyme students getting out and supporting their girls. They know this is a big game tonight, and they're out showing their Old Lyme pride.
Strychars loses it. Wild shot by Zarenda, no good, and Burkle will bring the ball up for St. Bernard. 4-0 here in the late first quarter.
I think at this point, it's just Old Lyme needs that first basket, and then things will start rolling for them. But right now, it's like you just got to break through the wall, and everything else will kind of roll downhill from there.
Stone in the lane, Wild, no good, was contested that time. Loose ball, and it will be St. Bernard's basketball. Wild shot that time by Stone, but it was contested by Sophie Nelson.
Yeah, Wildcat Nation over to the left of us here wanted a foul, but good defense, kind of Stone out of control, and a good play by Nelson, kind of got her hand, and it was a clean play. And again, Stone's got to recognize there's nothing there, and she's got to either pull it back out or pass it up.
Painter back in the ball game, replacing Strychars. She'll get her first breather of the game. And Burkle will bring it up with pressure from Painter. Length on length at the top of the key. Over to Rose, contested by Stone. And Rose with a double dribble. She pulled the dribble up, but when Mary Kate Devlin slid over, she tried to get the dribble back down again and turns it over.
And again, if Old Lyme is looking at this big picture, we're just about 6 minutes in first quarter. They haven't been able to muster anything offensively, but St. Bernard hasn't been able to use their size to their advantage. Old Lyme's done a good job with the defensive pressure, and one basket, and Old Lyme's, they're not anywhere near in an uphill battle right now.
Another long three by Stone, no good, and St. Bernard will have the basketball.
Shooter's going to shoot, right? If you miss, just keep shooting and shooting.
That's how you get Ray.
Ask Kobe.
That's what Ray Allen said.
Right.
That's the only way you can get himself back into a rhythm. Burkle drives to the basket, and she's going to travel with the basketball. Ball goes back over to Old Lyme.
A little frustration on her face as you see her coming back down the court.
Stone gets a pick from Forstein. Old Lyme swings it back around. Another three by Stone, no good. Strong rebound by Forstein, and Old Lyme will get another shot at it.
I like it. Just keep shooting.
Old Lyme trying to find a way to get the ball into the basket right now.
They're really trying to run some plays. They're really trying to run some offense. But again, Stone not sure where she's going before she's, started moving, and that's the travel call. But they're trying to run the offense. You see them calling plays when they get down. St. Bernard's just doing a good job of kind of shutting them out, kind of getting them out of their offensive rhythm, or they haven't been able to get into a rhythm, I should say.
Burkle. Back up top to Rose. St. Bernard trying to get the ball into one of its big's hands. Nice drive this time by Burkle. No good. Ball loose on the floor. Controlled by St. Bernard's. Bassett. She's trapped and loses the ball out of bounds. Let's take it down to 1:05 remaining. We're going to send it down to Keith on the sideline. Keith?
Yeah, guys, Coach Don Bugbee is stressing to his kids, be active on the offensive end. A lot of standing around, a lot of one-on-one stuff. Be active and keep moving on the offensive end for Old Lyme.
Almost their first chance at a basket that time, but of course the iron not being kind. St. Bernard comes out with it. Dittman running the break. Dittman, little 10-footer no good. Ball loose, controlled by St. Bernard, and saved nicely by Nelson, but turned it over, and it will go back to Old Lyme.
You're going to have a foul there on Dittman, just kind of pushed her along the side. Great effort trying to get the ball back, but nothing going as you see Old Lyme inbounding it. So we'll see what they can do here. Again, they got to move. They've gotten a lot of travels because the offense isn't moving, and that kind of stunts the passing game. So they're going to have to, again, be a little more active with the footwork, do a little more kind of cutting into the middle and then rolling down to the block. A lot of cutting from the wings into the middle and then rolling outside.
Oh, in and out that time for Painter, and when it doesn't want to go, it doesn't want to go.
You saw the look on Painter's face. It's almost like she was trying to wheel it in with the squint, but no such luck.
The Old Lyme student section trying to get tricky, but St. Bernard wasn't going to fall for it.
It's worked before. I've seen it work. Not this time around.
Great defense by the Saints and solid pitching. They have an opportunity to shut out Old Lyme here in the first period.
Field goal percentages aren't going to be great after this quarter.
Burkle on top to Rose. Well, now we are in a 4. Oh, they tricked. I think they got her that time. Bassett may have fell for it. But there we are at the end of the first period. 4-0 St. Bernard's. Come on back. You're watching Game Day on theday.com.
I am treated for cancer.
At L&M, we agree.
So we created a patient-focused cancer center
in affiliation with Dana-Farber Community Cancer Care.
Right here in Waterford.
Our dedicated doctors provide innovative cancer treatment, access to clinical trials and genetic counseling.
Gives me hope.
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 Now, exceptional cancer care
is right here, close to home.
And we are back here at Old Lyme High School on Game Day on theday.com. Casey O'Neill alongside me. I'm Mike Guerrero, Keith O'Brien along the sidelines. It was an offensively challenged first period, a 4-0 St. Bernard lead. That girl, I think she was saying, oh my God. Hopefully some more points here in the second quarter. Casey, is it just a matter of a bucket falling for Old Lyme? I mean, they had some opportunities. They were the offense seemed to be functioning some way, but again, the scoreboard wasn't showing that.
I think it was a combination of factors. One was that their ability to get anywhere near the basket is severely compromised by the size of St. Bernard. Dittman is really a presence under there, as is Burkle. And then they just didn't shoot the ball very well from anywhere else. So an inability to get into an offense because of St. Bernard's size and an inability to put the ball in the basket.
Here's Stone, who we've seen likes to shoot it. Gives it off to Painter. Nice move inside, and there it is. So maybe it was just the first quarter jitters. We were here. They probably saw us and got a little nervous on the game day. You know, we tend to do that, but no. All kidding aside, 4-2, Old Lyme on the board, and we'll see where they go from here. Again, nice move by Painter on that one. Inside Burkle, good dish, finds the open shooter. High arcing shot is in and out, and it goes out of bounds to Old Lyme.
Kara Bassett that time with the high rainbow. I thought she might hit a rafter, but it was up there, just in and out. We'll see if Old Lyme, despite everything, can tie this thing up.
Stone looks to drive, and again, good defense, closing in on Stone, forcing the turnover, another travel.
Curious to see if Old Lyme does put some pressure on here at some point. You know, we know St. Bernard struggles bringing the ball up as good as Burkle, and there it is, a steal by Stone. Layup no good, but she'll go to the line and shoot too. And Mike, that's just what I was saying. You know, we know they struggle to bring the ball up. Maybe a little bit of pressure, hard to do when you're not making baskets, but maybe that might be a way for Old Lyme to generate some offense.
Yeah, I mean, when the offense isn't going, you always have defense. That's what your coaches always, tell you when you're playing this game, and that's what seemed to work there as Stone's first kind of rims out, and she's definitely struggling. How much of an impact does a sophomore do? A few misses. I mean, we've seen she rebounds and continues to shoot, and she's not worried about missing shots, but At some point, does that catch up to you, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think she nails the second one. I think when experience, she's played a lot of big basketball. She's played high-level AAU basketball. But I think when you're a sophomore, you have to learn that what's your own rhythm and how do you get yourself back into a shooting rhythm. For her, it might just be as simple as continuing to shoot or getting to a spot on the floor that she's comfortable with.
Inside, Dittman finally with an opportunity, but just goes off her hands, and a impressive drive up the court and a foul. And Julia Strijars will go to the line for two, coast to coast. The steal quickly up the court and all the way to the hoop.
She was determined that time, was Strijars, that she was going to get to the basket. And we see Old Lyme now taking the ball to the basket the last few trips down.
First one glances off, no good.
Now I have to give credit to the blue and silver of the student section, including the gentleman who colored his head that way. Bless you.
And neither shot falls, so Old Lyme continues to trail 4-3. St. Bernard hasn't scored in a while, though. Ooh, nice little behind the back by Dittman to get it across court. She finds Sophie Nelson, and the shot from Burkle is, Dittman got it back after the pass to Nelson, up and no good. She goes to the line.
And St. Bernard's has to do they have to continue to do that. They have to continue to get the ball in the hands of Dittman and Burkle in positions where they can score. And certainly on the low block, Dittman has the advantage over anybody.
Again, Dittman, a sophomore for St. Bernard's, one of the cornucopia of sophomores on the floor tonight, along with Kara Bassett, who starts, Abby Stone, we've talked about. Sophie Nelson on the floor now. Dittman looking to push the lead to 2, and she does. And Quaratella ball slipped out of her hands there, taking it up the court. And it goes right to Mike Nystrom, who will take it and hand it off to the ref, and Bernard gets it back. A little pressure on the inbounds. Rose gets it, and she'll look to drive against Stone and get it across court, which she does, and then pulls it back. Stone, again, we talked about 7 steals on average over the last dozen games or so. Has been impressive on the defensive end. Dittman up to the hoop is good, but basket wiped away on the travel. Yes? You're saying yes?
I am saying yes. I was just informed by our major stat person that Dittman was the leading scorer in the game with 3 points. Yes. Yes, it is.
Shot from Quaratella, no good. Dittman again with the rebound, and Stone, that's going to be 2 on her. She got a little aggressive on the defensive end, had no position, and I assume she'll stay in, and I assume wrong. That's why I'm over here, and Coach Bugby is over there. So Stone with 2 fouls goes out, and Silja Forstein comes in for her. And we're going to have a timeout called by Coach Mike Nystrom for the Saints talk things over. And does the game plan change a little bit now with Stone out of the – you got to think that's what Coach Nystrom maybe called this timeout for. Stone's out with 2 fouls. Maybe he's going to change up the game plan a little.
Well, from a defensive point of view, St. Bernard was, Stone was not shooting the ball well, but was a threat to take the ball to the basket, so I don't think much changes there. I think it's on the other side of the ball offensively. Old Lyme is severely compromised with size. Stone was very active on the perimeter and was causing the guards at the top of the key a lot of problems with their length. So it might be easier now to get entry passes into Dittman and into Burkle.
Love the student section. They're into it. It might be 5-3, but they got the Skittles. Maybe for Marshawn Lynch. I don't know. Maybe he's coming.
And right now, it's like a middle school dance. The 5 girls are sitting there looking at the boys acting silly in the stand saying, no, we won't dance with you.
Sadly, we speak out of experience, I think.
Speak for yourself. I was
Okay.
highly in demand at New London Junior High School.
Rose gets the inbound, and we'll see what St. Bernard has out of the timeout. Nelson down in the left corner, and back to Dittman, back to Burkle, a little AB action.
And we see already Old Lyme going to a zone, something that they hadn't been doing previously.
Again, no shot clock in high school basketball, period. So St. Bernard's can take their time, and they are. And here's a three from Burkle. Side of the rim, no good. Quaratella comes out of the scrum with the rebound. Slows it up the sideline right in front of the Saints bench. Now with the left hand off on the wing. Out top is Forstein, who came in for Stone with 2 fouls. A nice take to the hoop for Quaratella. And that's up and good, and we have a tie game, the first tie since 0-0.
Yep, Quaratella got a step on Burkle and then got past Dittman before she could rotate over. Nice job that time getting to the basket by bringing the bigs out and using some quickness to get to the basket.
Bernard's trying to find an inlet pass, but again, as Casey mentioned, the zone is really causing problems. It looks like a little 3-2. 2-3, it's kind of a little modified 2-3 zone because of the difficult matchups that the Saints present.
They're encouraging St. Bernard to shoot it from the outside because they know they don't have a lot of perimeter shooters. What St. Bernard needs to do right there, as you see Burkle say, hey, wait a minute, I know how to shoot it from out here and nail the three. But in general, it's very difficult if you're not going to shoot it from the outside. They're going to collapse on Dittman every time, so they're going to have to try to go in and out with Dittman and use some backdoor cuts.
A long three by Burkle puts the Saints back on top. Old Lyme once again playing from behind. We saw Strijars with a nice drive earlier. That one, a nice drive and kick to Quaratella, misses. Strijars, with a rebound and back out top.
Oh, nice backdoor cut that time. Oh, what a nice look. Hannah Painter found Katie Quaratella cutting. What a beautiful play that was. The backdoor cut always looks good.
Painter's had a couple of very nice plays, a couple of dandies today from Hannah Painter. She got the scoring started for Old Lyme. And right there, not afraid to dish it out. And there's Burkle, another three from downtown. Her second straight three, and she says, you know, okay, if you're going to dare me, then I accept.
If she's gonna shoot it like that, that's gonna put a kink in that zone very quickly. They're gonna have to figure something out. I'd like to see Dittman demand the ball a little bit more. She's floating in there in the paint, but she really needs to assert herself.
Good drive by Old Lyme's Forstein, but a little strong on the layup. Back the other way are the Saints. Here's Burkle. She's feeling it. Again, she has the height, too, so she can basically shoot over everyone on the Old Lyme defense. And while we have a little break in the action, let's go to Keith O'Brien along the sidelines.
Casey made a great point there. Coach Mike Nystrom is urging Caitlin Dittman to get down on the baseline, get a little lower, start moving around the bucket a little bit, and try to find some easy baskets.
And we'll see here. Thank you, Keith. Good stuff. As they inbound, and Dittman's calling for it a little bit. Ball goes on to the weak side. And now Dittman calling for it. But again, every time she puts her hands up, she's getting double teamed. Here's the jumper, way off. And it goes out of bounds, so it's going to stay on this side of the court.
St. Bernard trying to find something right now that works other than that long threes from Burkle, but Dittman really struggling to get the ball down low.
And here they're trying to get it to her. They do on the inbound, but she's way out. A contested a contested jumper. She was contested by 3 defenders. No good, back the other way on line. Quaratella on the line, that's a 2, no good. And here comes Burkle. Let's see if she just pulls up, and good defense, pressuring at midcourt by Forstein. Burkle gives it up. Dittman telling Rose, cut through the paint. She does, as you see. Now Burkle back with it. There's Dittman inside on the block, but again, 3 Wildcats around her and nowhere for her to go. And as a big player, you never bring the ball down. If you have it up high, you can't bring it down, especially when you're guarded by smaller players. And she lost it there and stays with the Saints.
A little frustration right there. She had 5 people collapse on her. Yeah. She was determined, but that's experience. You know, you have to understand that there's a difference between aggressiveness and frustration, and that was a little bit of frustration.
And they stick with it, though, and again, the triple team came, and she just caught it high, went up with the shot, and got fouled, so she'll go to the free throw line. So good job by Dittman to stick with it. Good job by the Saints to keep pressing the ball into her and trying to, again, open up the jump shot a little bit.
And she's going to need to make these foul shots because that's probably where she's going to be spending a lot of her time. When you're a post player like she is, and you're going to get the ball in mismatches, you got to expect to be at the foul line.
A smooth touch there. Finds Silk, and she'll have her second one coming up. We had Mary Kate Devlin came in for a second for Hannah Painter. She got a quick breath, and she is back in there. As another, nothing but net, and a 6-point lead now for the Saints. And that one is out of bounds. Great defense by Rose. It's going to stay with Old Lyme. But Casey, we talked about it. The records are deceiving because St. Bernard's is clearly capable of playing with Old Lyme, even though the records are a discrepancy at 11-3 for the home team and 7-9 for the visitors.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we talked about the teams that they were beaten by. I mean, NFA is not just a double L program. They're one of the premier programs in double L, regular state champion contenders with one of the best players in the entire state in Sabria Outlaw. New London, coming off of a state championship, returning 4 of its starting 5. They've only lost to NFA and another ranked team. They're an outstanding L contender. Ledyard, with one of the best players in the conference in Klinikowski, and they're an L school and a team that competes statewide. And Bacon Academy, a perennial state contender, state championship team in L. And then, of course, when they dropped to S, they played Canton, the #1 team in all of S. So, I mean, they've got some losses, and those games against those kinds of teams prepare you for games against a very good Old Lyme team, but from a smaller division.
And we saw Burkle again with the long 3, so she's kind of taking over outside the arc and stretching that lead to 9, and a drive there out of bounds, staying with Old Lyme. Talked about the Wildcats at 11-3. They're kind of top the leaders in Class S. They've lost to North Brantford twice on the year, and that's been pretty much it for them. But again, getting all they can handle here tonight as we're under a minute until halftime. Quaratella nowhere to go in the middle. Nice bounce to, that's Strijars, and she gets blocked out of bounds by Dittman. So we'll see what Old Lyme does here. 40 seconds to play. They'd like to cut that 9-point lead to at least 7.
St. Bernard on an 11-2 run, led by Burkle, who has 9.
Quaratella a 3. She gave it a whirl. Nothing there. High off the backboard. And now Bernard has it. So they could stretch the lead to double digits before the halftime buzzer. And they're just going to hold it. You would assume it'll be Burkle or Dittman. And Old Lyme student section, as you hear, again trying to deceive the Saints, but they're not having it this time. Here's Burkle. Gives it to an open Dittman. No good. And that brings us to half. So it was a nice setup, a good drive, and a good dish, but it didn't go. And we go to the half. St. Bernard's 16-7. Leading Old Lyme. But before we go to the MJ Sullivan halftime show, let's go to Keith O'Brien with the coach of the Saints, Mike Nystrom.
Coach, living by the three-point line in the first half.
Caitlin Burkle hit 3 threes. Best she shot all year.
How do you find a way to get your big people involved a little bit to take advantage of your size?
We need to do that. We definitely need to do that. We got to get the ball inside more because we can't live by the 3 the whole game.
And you expect them to come out and pressure you guys full court?
They're going to press us. That's right. They're going to come right after us. We got to have to handle it.
All right, great job. Guys, pressure, pressure, pressure. Get the ball inside, not living and dying by the three-point line.
All right, Keith, and we'll talk about all that and what went on in the first 2 quarters of play when we come back on the MJ Sullivan halftime show. St. Bernard 16-7 leading Old Lyme here at Old Lyme High School. You're watching Game Day on theday.com.
See it now on another wall. The feeling said I'm gonna breathe. fast. And I can tell you now on another way. Oh, I feel the same.
Welcome back to the MJ Sullivan Halftime Show on Game Day, live on theday.com. We are at Old Lyme High School, where the Old Lyme Wildcats trail the visiting St. Bernard Saints 16-7. Casey O'Neill along with Mike Guerrero, and of course our sideline guy, the sports doctor Keith O'Brien. Mike, thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, I think, we saw both teams struggling to get started, not much happening in that first quarter, but then we saw, Caitlin Burkle, come alive a little bit. She hit the threes. We saw the offense. We saw, obviously, Old Lyme scored all their points. They put a goose egg up in that first quarter. And even the Old Lyme offense kind of started rolling a little bit. We didn't see anything from Abby Stone, and I'd expect to see something from her in the second half of play. So all things considered, I think that first quarter you kind of throw out the window, and really you take what we saw in that second quarter. I think Coach Mike Nystrom kind of put the blueprint up. They're going to press. They can't live and die by the three, so that's really what it's going to be about in the second half of action. It'll be interesting to see
what Old Lyme coach Don Bugby draws up. Now, Don Bugby has lived his entire life in Old Lyme. He coaches at the high school he attended, and when he's not coaching, he works as the town's park and recreation director.
He's unbelievable. He's one of those guys. It's an AD's dream because he does everything the right way, with coaching the kids and working with us, athletic department-wise. He's great. He's great to work with. He's enthusiastic, and he's a heck of a coach along the way.
This is my 16th season as the varsity coach. I was the Tim's assistant for 4 years before that, and I was freshman boys coach the year before that. So it was my 21st year coaching basketball at the school.
I think the fact that he grew up here, went to school here, he's coached here forever, he's a little icon in this town, which is kind of cool, I think.
This is my hometown. I love it here. The kids here are superb. I love coaching them. There's 30 or 40, 45 of them through the course of a year who will work for me through Parks and Recreation. All my staff is kids from Old Lyme. I take care of them. A lot of people did nice things for me when I was growing up here, and it's my turn to give it back to them.
I love it. It's awesome. He really cares about all the girls, and he really just cares about the game too, so it makes it a lot more fun to play.
I break it down to the girls all the time in pieces. Like after our first half today, I said, girls, you got 16 minutes of basketball left. That's like 1% of your day. Can you give me 1% of your day? And you can have the other 99%. And that's how I break everything down.
Welcome back to the MJ Sullivan Halftime Show on Game Day, live on theday.com. We've seen young, old, in between, male, female, all alike, coming in from the cold, the Arctic cold out there. There's the youngest Old Lyme fan watching the St. Bernard Saints right now with a 16-7 lead over the host Old Lyme Wildcats. Now we have plenty more for you on the MJ Sullivan Halftime Show, as well as second half action live on Game Day on theday.com. Come on back with us.
Thank you for putting MJ Sullivan Hyundai in the top 15 in the country. We've just been notified that we have won the Hyundai President's Award. We rank in the top 15 dealers nationwide for customer satisfaction, and we're the only dealer in Connecticut to win this award. Consider this, a good deal is not price alone, but it's the service you receive during and after the sale. And that's been the driving force of MJ Sullivan's for nearly 30 years. So come to the MJ Sullivan Automotive Corner in New London or at mjsullivanauto.com, and I personally guarantee you'll be satisfied.
And we are back at Old Lyme High School. We're on the MJ Sullivan Halftime Show as the teams are coming out of the locker room. We talked about Coach Bugby. He's going to have to draw up some things, but Coach Nystrom will have to draw up some things as well. He's been at St. Bernard's for 32 years, so he knows his stuff. And former players remembered him for his intensity, though he says he's calmed down over the years.
We've got great girls, and we've had, especially lately, we've had some incredible girls and parents, and we've had some pretty good teams lately, and it's been more fun now than maybe it was a lot longer ago.
It's amazing coming back to coach with him because I can really be empathetic to the girls because I know what it was like to play for him, as well as it's really great to see it from his eyes because I knew he was passionate and cared a lot about us as a player, but now being his assistant, I don't think anybody realizes how much time and effort and energy he really puts into not only the program, but how much he truly cares about each and every player.
I've calmed down. I mean, I still have my moments, but I've definitely calmed down from when I was younger.
I always joke with the girls, they don't realize how easy they had it, and I think girls that had played, before me said, I didn't even realize how easy I've had it. He has definitely mellowed down.
I'll tell you how I've changed. I think I look at the kids more like children now than when I was younger and didn't have my own children. I didn't look at them that way. Just looked at them as players. And I've had my own children, and I look at them differently now, and I think I appreciate them more than I used to.
But I think what people don't realize is a lot of his intensity and energy is a lot of passion, and it's really not directed at the girls per se. It's really just a lot of passion coming across, and he knows the game and he knows how it should be played, and he wants to see that and make them the best that they can possibly be.
And Coach Mike Nystrom can't be too upset with what he's seen so far. St. Bernard's leading Old Lyme 16-7, so we saw him talking with Keith at the halftime, a pretty happy, pretty calm demeanor on Coach Nystrom, but if Old Lyme here, we might see him turn up the heat a little bit. Casey, second half, going into the second half.
Well, I think St. Bernard has to continue to get the ball into the bigs and find a way to break pressure. Clearly, Old Lyme in the second half, and Old Lyme's going to have to find a way to get Abby started. They did a really nice job on a short period of time while she was out with fouls, rather. Here in the second half.
We will have when we. This has been the St. Bernard 6 halftime. We'll be back right here.
At Ledyard High School, we are athletes and fans. We are musicians. We are home to an agri-science and technology center. We offer opportunities to earn college credit. We have 3 student publications and nearly 4 dozen extracurricular clubs. We're inclusive. We're compassionate. We're committed to excellence. We are 12 towns, 4 grades, 1 identity.
We all had one vision, and that was to bring the best cancer care to this area. The number one thing that we wanted was privacy.
We wanted more lighting, enough room for our guests and our caregivers, a common area if you want to socialize.
I still get emotional every time I walk into an infusion room. It's so bright and it's so cheerful.
It's just amazing to know that I had part in designing the building.
We are quarter out. Old Lyme Most Wild visiting game day. I'm an ace. Students not going to let it. So it's not as we open. Casey O'Neill, Keith O'Brien, continuing basketball. St. Bernard and Portella will look to. Good, nothing. Julia, first points of the game. Want to start the game now. A good way to start.
We in the first quarter to get the offense.
Student section. Amp. Halftime. Cut. Burkle, 9, St.
because the floor actually shift other end to get into the stretch players. So they got the well. Yeah. A lot.
Abby, first of her 2 first half fouls. Very B with dip. All on the floor.
And Coach talked about it. Great pass. Great job to get up. Man, that her hand had to open.
Long stone. Chars and Woodley. Dittman. St. Bernard.
Mutters mean under.
Oh, pressure. They're going to. Burkle over easily. Over. Unenviable in the post. It's flashing. Launches a good on the floor. Pass it. St. Bernard's. They'll reset the. Good. Drive and
Berkel, really typical women has become the game. The two can shoot, also post. Oh, and Liz to an. If they had a block and post work in the with the ball both with she player and element
with both range things of abilities is Caitlin with a confused with Caitlin confused with Mary of Old Lyme. Tella.
Just so
that time drains the gives St. Bernard 25 4:40 period. The same up here to start.
And you're looking on the bench between after it looked kind of it's quickly clocked. Went on a run, but also chipping in a Bugby some spirit. They need to turned around.
Befuddled and they bewildered.
Yeah, I
have to use all three. If you're gonna go out Twixt, I think.
I knew I missed one, and that's why I'm glad you're here to kind of pick me up on those.
The little things that we like to do here on game day that make the viewing audience out there a little bit wiser. That's what we're just hoping to make you out there a little bit smarter tonight. Neither one of us is doing a very good job of it. Old Lyme will inbound, trailing by 15. Stone will bring the ball up.
And she's been pretty much silent tonight. Both Bernard's defense and just offensive struggles. She's going to have to pick it up. She's their leading scorer. She has to do something for them to get back in this game.
At this point, with the difficulty in scoring that we've seen from Old Lyme, a 15-point deficit has to feel like 30.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to seem like Everest right now.
The only way they're going to get into it is defensive stops and maybe some pressure and try to make a run. But right now, St. Bernard very content, taking time, swinging the ball around, looking for good shots like that one right there. Caitlin Dittman on the nice inbound pass from Burkle. 27-10 St. Bernard. Evidently, we are having some technical difficulties with our sound, so we apologize to those of you who are unable to hear the melodious sounds of Mike Guerrero and Casey O'Neill, but we'll keep going anyway. Nice jumper that time. Sophie Nelson. Burkle is the leading scorer with 12, Dittman with 9. Nelson's contributed. Long three-pointer by Stone, no good. Dittman clears the rebound, and St. Bernard has a chance to bring this thing to a 20-point lead.
I actually don't hate that shot by Stone. She feels confident she can make it, but the Wildcats, they look like they're playing in cement a little bit right now, really dragging offensively and defensively. You can see they're a little shell-shocked. They've got to get mentally back in this game before they can physically catch up on the scoreboard.
Long three from Dittman, no good, but ball's loose on the floor. We're going to get a St. Bernard foul on Sophie Nelson as she tried to tie up Maddie Zarenda, and it will be Old Lyme basketball.
Interesting little note as you're watching here, going back and forth. If you look at the sidelines, you'll see Coach Mike Nystrom kind of working the sidelines, working the ref, and you'll see Coach Bugby just sitting calmly in a chair. And you would think one had a 19-point lead and the other didn't, but it's actually, it's the other way around.
Now you see Mike Nystrom's tie has come lower and lower as the game goes on, but the top button, still working for him there.
Yes.
That looks like a coach who's down 20 points.
It does, see?
That does not look
I
like
agree.
someone who's got a lead right now.
But if you ask RM, he does the same thing, and he's, every game, no matter if it's a 60-point win or a 10-point, lead, he's always, it's a process. It goes from the jacket, and then the tie loosens, and then a button starts coming, and eventually the tie comes off. That's, if the game's really out of hand.
There is a lid on the basket right now for Old Lyme, as Maddie Zarenda thought she had one that went down, but in and out. We'll have a foul on St. Bernard. Old Lyme will retain the basketball. The Old Lyme cheering section chanting, "You can't do that," as Julia Streichars will go to the line. She'll shoot 2 for Old Lyme. And you can see leading up to that play that Abby Stone has a lot of talent bringing up the basketball. She's a real tweener and causes a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
Let's take a second and head down to the sports doctor, Keith O'Brien. Keith.
Casey, Mike, you talked about the offensive side of the ball for Old Lyme. Nothing has come easy for Old Lyme. No easy layups, no three-pointers, no spark. They've seen to grind and try to earn everything they possibly have on the offensive end.
Thank you, Keith. It's funny, we were here watching you and I, the Old Lyme boys play the Waterford High School boys, and for about 3 quarters, the Old Lyme boys were in that same boat. Everything was hard. Everything was coming difficult. And then all of a sudden they went on this great shooting run and then ended up beating Waterford in that game. I feel like the same thing. The Old Lyme girls right now, Keith's right. Everything just looks hard right now.
Yeah, I agree. And Old Lyme, we saw that was a huge win for them. I think Old Lyme could come back, but now they're down 21 as you see that latest basket. I mean, they're going to need a miraculous comeback of sorts in the fourth quarter, which is basically what it's going to come down to because they've only got a couple minutes left here. And, again, they continue to just get stonewalled.
Dittman with another block on Streichars that time. Dittman gets it back. Jumper from the elbow. Blocked from behind, but we're going to get a foul. And it's going to send Caitlin Dittman to the line. She's going to shoot 2 with a 21-point lead for St. Bernard.
Wildcat Nation not feeling that foul.
Foul was on Abby Stone, her 3rd.
As you can see.
I give the student section credit, though. They are still feisty.
Still standing, still into it. No one's left.
A tell you, for a sophomore and for a girl of her size, Caitlin Dittman has a great stroke from the foul line.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in a couple of game day games this year on the boys' side of things, the big guys are just, it's like, you know, it's like shooting a beach ball into the basket. They just can't seem to get that flow, but Dittman is quite the opposite. Very nice stroke from the free throw line.
Stride charge, drive to the basket, rejected by Burkle this time. And I think they're going to get Burkle a second time on Mary-Kate Devlin. No, they're going to call that foul on Bassett. That's her third. And Mary-Kate Devlin will be at the line shooting 2 for Old Lyme.
Well, here's how you come back. You get the clock to stop, and you make your free throws. We've seen Old Lyme really struggle from the line. If Kate Devlin can hit a couple, if she can hit one, you know, 1 point with the clock stopped is certainly a good way to kind of work your way back in. But again, you wonder what's going on in the heads of the Old Lyme players right now, because they probably haven't faced a struggle like this too often this year. Again, 11-3, so they haven't been down too often. They haven't been in a spot where they've had huge deficits to come back from, and this is probably rare territory and probably why they're struggling.
Yeah, I mean, only down 4 points at the end of the first quarter. We thought this was going to be a real low-scoring game. St. Bernard's has found a way to get the ball in the basket. Old Lyme has not. Dittman, no good, but Burkle with the rebound and the follow, and she's fouled. Caitlin Burkle will go to the line to shoot 2, as that Old Lyme foul is going to be called on Mary-Kate Devlin.
And those two are tough. I mean, you see Dittman, she can move with the ball. A nice pull-up at the free throw line, and then she misses the jumper, but Burkle is right there to box out and get the rebound and get back up, and she hits her free throws. I mean, this is a 1-2 punch that the 7-9 record that we talked about is certainly deceiving. If St. Bernard's comes out tonight with an 8-9, they're obviously going to the state tournament, and it's going to be interesting to see what kind of noise they can make, because with Dittman and Burkle really running the show and a couple of nice role players, this team is pretty dangerous with the way those two big players really kind of control the floor. It's quite impressive how they run their offense, and Coach Mike Nystrom knows it, and he's really tailored the offense around those two, and they've really responded.
Strychars with the ball for Old Lyme. We're down under a minute. Stolen by Dittman.
Ooh.
She pulls it up and gives it over to Rose. 34 seconds remaining here in the third quarter.
Nice steal by Dittman. Just took it right out of her hands.
St. Bernard looks to be content, getting it inside to Burkle. Nice look from Dittman. Dittman to Burkle. That's the two names we've been calling all night. 35-11 St. Bernard as we head to the end of the third period. Inside to Quartella, and she's going to have walked with the basketball. Burkle now with 16, Dittman with 11. That's 27 of the 37 St. Bernard points.
Yeah, they've both been extremely impressive and unstoppable if you're Old Lyme tonight.
Rose pushing for St. Bernard. Back it goes to Dittman. Runner at the buzzer, no good. And that'll bring the end of the third quarter, 37-11, St. Bernard on top. Let's take it down to our sports reporter, Keith, on the sideline.
Now, guys, I am here with 92-year-old Jim Noyes, Old Lyme native, been here all your life. How long have you been coming to these games, sir?
I haven't been here all my life yet. How many games have I been to?
Yeah, how many games have you been to?
I estimate about 3,000 over the years, but that's only an estimate.
3,000 games, boys, girls. You've raised kids, you have grandkids, and they've all come to school here and played ball.
And including myself.
What position did you play, sir?
I was an end on the six-man football team.
Well, what did you think of the state championship football team this year?
I thought it was wonderful. The son is the father of the coach is an old friend of mine.
What do you think of tonight's game?
Say it again, please.
What do you think of tonight's game? What do you think of tonight's game?
Oh, he's a great guy.
All right. 92-year-old Jim Noyes, there he is, on the sidelines here at Old Lyme High School.
Thank you, Keith. And 3,000 games, that There's a lot of games. That's going to take more than a couple of my hands to count. Before we get started in the fourth quarter here, we just want to remind you this game brought to you by MJ Sullivan Automotive Corner, Ledyard High School, and Lawrence in Memorial Hospital. You're watching Game Day on theday.com alongside Casey O'Neill. I'm Mike Herrera. You just heard from Keith O'Brien as Old Lyme tries to mount a comeback, and that's a good way to start here in the fourth quarter. And again, Painter, who's been the best player, hands down, for the Wildcats tonight.
Yeah, nice basket that time. You saw Old Lyme press, but St. Bernard's broke it that time. I mean, you're down 24 points. It's a tough road to hoe, but the only way they're going to have any chance of this is to be able to pressure that basketball, get some steals and some easy looks.
There's the 1-2 punch. There's the Batman and Robin for St. Bernard, and it's been all but a winning combination tonight. Burkle, the foul, goes to the line for a couple more free throws. We've seen both her and Dittman smoothly with the free throw touch, as you see there.
Yep, 24 and 33, the two numbers that we have called an awful lot tonight. The two Caitlyns, like we say, I'm sure they call them Caitlin with a K and Caitlin with a C. Caitlin Burkle and Caitlin Dittman, the senior, the sophomore, and the two most important players on this St. Bernard's team.
Burkle rolls in the second, and that lead back to 26.
Not to insult all of the boys basketball players out there, but something just happened under the basket that made me smile. Caitlin Dittman, after the rebound, accidentally bumped into one of the Old Lyme players, and said, "Oh, I'm sorry." And the Old Lyme player said, "Fine." If that had been a boys' game, one would have puffed his chest out and growled, and the other one would have, slammed both hands onto the ground and pretended to be a Bengal tiger. But
the Bengal tiger, one of the rarest of the tigers.
It is. But it was nice. She bumped into her and said, "I'm sorry." And the other girl said, "No problem." It was very nice, very polite.
That is. Caitlin Dittman doing it both with her words and with her actions.
She's being raised well. Proud parents are both here tonight watching.
Would you say she's a saint?
I wouldn't go quite that far, but yes.
Saintly?
She is a saint. She may not be saintly, but she is in fact a saint.
Right. Bernards has the clock on their side. Nice, again, active hands. Stone, give her credit, has done a great job defensively tonight. Offensively, nothing's worked for her, but continues to get steals and contribute to those defensive stats. And again, that's what you like to see from a young player who's still kind of experiencing her, learning the game a little bit.
Well, you said in the pregame that Stone was averaging 6 steals over these past few games. You can see why. She's very long, very active in the passing lanes. You can see where she gets those steals on a regular basis. They just haven't translated to a lot of offense.
Lift off from Burkle. Another 3. And that lead goes to, I can't do the math that
28.
quickly. Thank you.
42-14, 28. That brings Burkle up to 21 points. She's got half of St. Bernard's points tonight, 21 for Caitlin Burkle.
And the timeout was called on the Old Lyme side. Coach Bugby, not sure what he's drawing up. Maybe he's drawing up plans for a time machine, because Old Lyme really needs to go back a few quarters and start things over. That's about the best way they're going to probably get back into this one.
Well, this would be a good time to mention that our next broadcast is going to be for girls basketball. It's going to be on February 27th. It's a Friday, live from Norwich Free Academy. We'll be broadcasting you the ECC girls final from NFA, and St. Bernard, who had not been thought to be a contender in the ECC, if they play like that in the tournament, then they could certainly create some problems. But New London and NFA are the class right now of the ECC. They put on a fantastic ECC final last year. Of course, New London went on to win the state championship. And this year, both teams looking poised to a rebound. But whoever it is, whether it's St. Bernard or New London, NFA, Ledyard, anyone, whoever the ECC girls final is on Friday, February 27th, we will be there, and game day will be broadcasting live for you. So that's where we'll be next.
Unless it snows. Disclaimer.
If it snows, I might get loopier than I am already.
Burkle to Dittman and up and in. I can almost broadcast with my eyes closed when St. Bernard has the basketball on the offensive end.
Yeah, no real answers for them. We knew in the pregame that it was going to be difficult, but we had no way of knowing it was going to be this much of a challenge. The Old Lyme can't defend them, and certainly has had a real struggle in their own offense with them underneath. Dittman has been an absolute defensive force for St. Bernard.
This is going to be a certain wake-up call, too, for Old Lyme. Again, 11-3, working their way up the Class S standings, and this is definitely a crash down to earth. In the Shoreline Conference, they've had some success, but again, playing outside the conference, they're struggling a little bit. Let's pause now and go to Keith O'Brien along the sidelines. Keith.
Yeah, Mike, wake-up call indeed. You got to ask yourself, guys, where does this Old Lyme team go from here? Getting beat this bad, how do they rebound for conference play, and how do they continue to march into the state tournament? Fellas?
Yeah, Keith, that's a good point. And Casey, let me pose this question to you. Old Lyme's best player probably is Abby Stone. She's a sophomore. Now, St. Bernard's best player is Caitlin Burkle. She's a senior. You got to figure that years of experience has a huge impact when you're looking to someone to kind of lead your team, especially when you're struggling. Like on a night like tonight when Old Lyme really couldn't find the shot, Stone was missing, and again, she was playing good defense, but still, it's tough to always rely on a sophomore to lead your team, whereas Burkle's a senior leader and the best player.
You see, right on cue, Abby Stone showing why she's so good with that athletic drive to the basket. But I think it's not just the fact that she's a sophomore, it's also how she needs to get her offense. Her offense comes from driving to the basket and creating, and that is very difficult against the size of Burkle and Dittman. Burkle, on the other hand, has more ways that she can score. She can score inside, she can shoot the three, and she doesn't have to be the sole presence down on the block because Dittman takes up so much responsibility. So, when in doubt, they can go inside, outside like they did tonight, put Burkle up top and create presence in both sides of things. When Old Lyme struggles, the sophomore Stone has to try to create, and that can be very difficult for her.
And we see a timeout called by Coach Nystrom. We'll see if he tries to get a few of the reserves in here. 4 minutes to play, as you see on the bottom of the screen there. Old Lyme well out of this one at this point. St. Bernard's on their way to win number 8. Is 8 still the magic number to qualify for the state tournament?
It is. Yeah, you have to get 8 games in. So this will get St. Bernard's into the postseason. But
so that's something.
It is.
This win, means a little extra for them.
It does, and I'll tell you what else. And it really, our sideline, our host to my right, our stat expert, Mike DeMoro, jokingly said the ECC's RPI just went up because you got a team from the middle of the ECC conference.
Sure.
St. Bernard 7-9. They're not one of the leading teams in the ECC. You've got Old Lyme, who is one of the leading teams in its conference, and they're getting a hurting put on them at home. So you have to say to yourself, how good is the ECC girls conference, where a team that's in the middle of the conference can go on the road and really take it to the leader of the Shoreline Conference.
That's a great point. Again, this is a road game, as you see Dittman again with a little jumper, and she's really kind of fallen into a rhythm, as has Burkle tonight. Now the lead at 30 for St. Bernard's. And they're going to well eclipse 50 points, which after one quarter they had, if I'm not correct, 4. So it's been an impressive final 3 quarters of play by the Saints. Old Lyme has struggled throughout, averaging 4 points a quarter.
We got a freshman guard in for St. Bernard, Emily Smith, number 2 on your screen. She is in for St. Bernard, getting some of her action. You had mentioned some of the subs maybe getting into the ball game.
And we also had Brianna Beverly, another freshman guard, come in, and she just lost the ball to Kate Devlin, and Kate Devlin fouled going to the hoop. So the freshmen come in, they make some mistakes. That's why you bring them in situations like this. We're going to have another sub coming in shortly. That is going to be Alexandria Belial, excuse me, put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
The emphasis.
Right.
On the wrong syllable. I heard you. Burkle is the only senior for St. Bernard. They are an incredibly young team. Looking at the roster, I see freshman, sophomore, freshman, junior, sophomore, freshman, sophomore. So when they have a game like this, they don't they're already playing their kids.
Yeah.
So they don't have a bench to necessarily go to outside of getting either Burkle or Dittman out of the basketball game. Old Lyme, on the other hand, has the senior in Floratella and the senior in Painter and in Devlin, but they also have sophomore, freshman, junior, freshman. So for the most part, these are two young teams.
And you saw Stone there finally hit a three-pointer. And when she hit the three, she turned around and she had a look on her face like, oh, it's about time. And then she turned around to get back on the press. But you could tell she's a little frustrated. She just drew a foul there. You saw a Old Lyme fan in the stands throw his gloves up in the air in disgust.
It's too cold to throw your gloves anywhere at this point.
Hold on to those. Dittman is the only Dittman and Rose, who we haven't talked about too much, but she's been in the game the whole way, so she's kind of a nice, a good ball handler who's not going to score a lot, but she can get the ball, and if Dittman and Burkle need a break handling it, they can defer to Rose. So it's Rose and Dittman, and then a couple of the young players for St. Bernard's in the game right now.
Yeah, Courtney Rose has done a nice job handling the basketball for St. Bernard. She's a junior guard. And we said in the pregame that someone was going to have to help with those responsibilities, and it has been Courtney Rose up until this point.
And here's the shot from Brianna Beverly. And the freshman guard has a couple points to her name tonight. Stone, foul line jumper, no good. Rebounds to Belial, and out of bounce, staying with Old Lyme. So the freshman doing work as well. Well, I guess, as they say, when it's working, when it's going well, and when it's going bad, it's going really badly.
Who says that?
I don't know. I think they say that. Someone says it. I just said it.
You just said it.
Painter into the lane. She got hacked on the way in. And we are in the 1-and-1 situation as trusty statistician, our everything stats man Mike DeMauro points out. So that's the first, this is the first of the bonus situation that we've seen during the game tonight. It'll be Painter, who's had a nice game for Old Lyme. She will shoot the 1-and-1. Seeing some more St. Bernard's players getting up off the bench. We saw Alicia Crespo, the freshman guard, just come into the game, and Dittman saw her final action, so she finishes a strong game. As you see them on the bench, Dittman and Burkle sitting side by side along with the other starters for St. Bernard's, Kara Bassett and Sophie Nelson, all pleased with the way things have turned out tonight. Front end of the 1-and-1 from Painter, good. Back end, no good. 28-point lead. And we have a foul in the corner, and we had a timeout by the Saints as they were trapped, so a smart play calling the timeout. Again, February 27th, the final Friday of the month, we will have a ECC girls final game. That'll be from NFA, the team's TBD. Before we get back to action, let's go to Keith O'Brien. Keith, what do you got for us?
Casey, Mike, what's really nice to see in our high school basketball team, a game, is that everybody gets a chance to play. Both coaches emptying their bench, rewarding kids for hard work and practice and stuff like that. And that's why I love high school sports, the sportsmanship, getting every kid involved and playing during the games.
And I think Keith makes a good point, Casey. We see a 28-point deficit, but again, this is high school. A lot of these girls you mentioned, there's a lot of youth on both these sides. They're learning, and again, they have school all day, so it's nice to see everyone working hard. But again, in the grand scope, again, it's a loss for Old Lyme, and obviously they want to win, but there's things to learn. And again, they have been good sports and played this game in the right manner.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love high school sports. I love, whether it's, I'm a Connecticut native and resident my whole life, and I love Connecticut high school sports. I think that all the great storylines and themes and leitmotifs of life are echoed and shown in high school sports, and we see kids getting to be resilient, and we see kids getting to have triumphs, and we see them at times with tears of despair and that agony of defeat. And it's a privilege to be able to bring it to them. Not every game is going to be a packed house at Ledyard High School. But for the kids that are on the floor right now for Old Lyme and for St. Bernard, this means every bit as much to them as it did to the kids at Ledyard, in a game that was for the lead in the ECC boys. So I think it's important, for the parents that are here tonight, for the kids that are working so hard every day, like you said, going to school and doing, they still got to go home and do homework tonight.
Sure.
So, I think it's great for each of them. Folks that are here, whether it's grandparents or parents coming in to see their kids, it's just as important to them as it is for someone playing in the ECC championship game.
The timeout while we were talking there. You saw Old Lyme, they put a little pressure on with the reserves in for St. Bernard. Coach Mike Nystrom, a little wry smile on his face. Abby Stone stepped in front of the inbounds pass, stole it and put it back up. So the lead to 24, but again, only a minute and a quarter left here. But Old Lyme, Coach Bugby trying to make the final score a little bit more respectable, and the full court press is certainly causing St. Bernard some fits right now, getting the ball in bounce. I'm sure Coach Nystrom is a little bit of a head scratcher, but Old Lyme continuing to play hard. And St. Bernard's gets it across the court, and it's controlled by Emily Smith. Again, this game brought to you by MJ Sullivan Automotive Corner, Ledyard High School, Lawrence and Memorial Hospital. Stay tuned for the Ledyard High School post-game show immediately following the conclusion of this one. Ledyard just trying to work the clock out right now. They are in the stall offense. The four corners, spread it out and let the time run out. Not so much there. Old Lyme with the steal, Stone up the court. Looked like it went off her foot and out of bounds. A frustrated Abby Stone just working hard, playing hard to the final whistle, but it's going to be a game to forget for the up-and-coming sophomore.
Christina Lawton into the ball game for her first action for St. Bernard's, a junior guard.
Not so much there on the pass from Rose. Tried to throw it over the tallest player for Old Lyme, no good. Pass on the baseline to Painter is good. And again, some trouble with the pressure. So we see all the young players, the reserves in the game for St. Bernard's. A good move by Coach Nystrom. Nice baseball pass there by Belial to Crespo, who's harassed. She loses it to Stone, who gives it off to Strijars. Goes around Rose. And up and good. Rose down for a second. She gets up. And again, you see good sportsmanship on both parts. So for St. Bernard's, they will go to 8-9 and really showed something here tonight. Old Lyme falls to 11-4 as you hear the buzzer. Our final is 48-28. We'll keep it here, and Keith O'Brien will have Coach Nystrom talking about the performances of, you would expect him to talk about Caitlin Burkle and Caitlin Dittman when he gets on mic with Keith, but we'll keep it until Keith and Coach are ready. And again, Casey, we talked about it. I think this gives you a little bit of a view into what the ECC is. I mean, we've seen the boys' side and we know the boys' side, but this is a little bit of a look into what the girls' side certainly has in store for that tournament come the end of this month.
Yeah, and you see Abby Stone and Caitlin Dittman, two good friends, the sophomores who play on the same AAU basketball team throughout the course of the year. We talked about their familiarity, and Dittman got the best of things tonight. But this was a good test for St. Bernard's. They passed, and Old Lyme now has to go and figure out where really do they stand in the Shoreline Conference and moving forward into the state.
All right, and it looks like Keith is ready along the sidelines with Coach and one of the stars of the game. So let's go to him. Keith?
Coach Nystrom, how big of a win was this tonight coming on the road and winning against a team that was 11-3?
This was a huge win for us. We just had a tough night the other night. Lost a game we were hoping to win, and came back and played the best we played all year. Katie shot the ball best she's shot all year. We ran offense the best we've run all year. We probably played defense as good as we played all year. This is about as good as we could play.
How do you build this now? How do you build on this throughout the rest of the season?
Now we're in the tournament. That game got us in the tournament, and now there's no pressure. We still got 3 games left. You know, we can win them all. All 3 games we can win. If we play like this, we definitely can win.
Senior leadership was the story of the night tonight in a game that featured a bunch of sophomores. Senior Katie Burkle, 21 points, 4 3-pointers tonight, Katie. Where'd that come from?
I came out here wanting to win. After the loss the other night, it was rough. We came out with intensity, and it was a team effort. Everybody played their hardest, and it happened to be a great game for us.
Your size out there in the court, your team size gave them a little bit of trouble. Did that shot? I mean, is that something you guys worked on or talked about that?
We do work on that. Knowing that me and Kate Dittman are very tall is helpful, and it's helpful against other teams, but we work on it in practice, and we just try to improve every time we do it.
Coach never let up. You had a 24-point lead with 2 seconds to go, and he's still barking out orders.
Yeah, we wanted to keep playing strong, not give up. We don't want to let go on defense, let them get a couple of easy shots. They played good. We had intensity out there, and that's all we can ask for.
Good luck the rest of the way. Senior leadership tonight, fellas. Katie Burkle. Coach?
You hit the nail on the head. This girl's been tremendous all year. We've had some ups and downs, but she's stayed tough. She's been positive all year, and that's what happens when you stay tough.
There you go, guys. That's the story tonight from Old Lyme High School.
Thank you, Keith, and that's great stuff. Great stuff by Coach, really calling out his senior, and we saw Caitlin Burkle. She had a great game tonight, but she's had a lot of great games that you haven't seen on GameDay.com. You might see her again. We got the ECC Girls Final. That's at NFA Friday, February 27th. But, you know, we might see her in this game. Who knows? They have a really strong tandem. Again, you see the rest of our schedule there. The ECC boys semis will have back-to-back games on the 4th, and then the final of the ECC boys tournament on the 6th. Casey, final thoughts before we take off for tonight.
I think tonight was an example of 2 teams in 2 different conferences that are going to have to ask different questions. You heard Coach Nystrom say, no pressure now, they're in the tournament, which is a big deal for them, and they came in and beat a leading team in another conference. So they have to feel very good, if not in the ECC, but moving forward and being able to contend in Class S, because they just played a team that's very good in Class S. On the other side of things, Coach Bugby has to ask the reverse question. You know, yeah, we're 11-3, but we just took a team from Class S that's in the middle of another conference, and they just drilled us. You know, where do we really stand now in Class S? Is this 11-3 perhaps an inflated record for us? So I think both of these teams have to go and say, you know, what direction are we heading in now?
All righty. Once again, we want to remind you this game was brought to you by MJ Sullivan Automotive Corner, Ledyard High School, and Lawrence and Memorial Hospital. Make sure, come back. Game day on theday.com will be with you Friday, February 27th, just as we get ready to flip the calendar to March. You've been watching the Ledyard High School postgame show from Old Lyme High School. St. Bernard's over Old Lyme on the girls' side of things, 48-28 for Casey O'Neill, Keith O'Brien. I'm Mike Carrera. Join us again Friday, February 27th. For now, have a great night. Stay warm. This has been Game Day on theday.com.